Welcome back to KSU News. I'm Carly Willis, and I'm joined by the Associate Professor of Psychology, Dr. Dave Provorse. Good to have you with us, Dave.
Thank you.
How long have you been teaching here at WU?
This starts my 24th year this fall.
24th. All right. And what courses do you currently teach?
I teach mostly in the graduate program in the Psychology Master's program. I teach courses in theories of therapy and also some applied techniques classes.
Okay.
I teach a class in ethics and one in diversity also.
And which is your favorite to teach?
One that I'm teaching this fall right now is a group therapy class, and it's really interesting because the students actually participate, and not only do they get to run the group, but they get to have the experience of what it's like to be a member of a therapy group, and so they kind of get both sides of the picture there.
That's awesome. And I also hear that you instruct a marathon training course.
Yeah, it's on the schedule this year. It'll be the 19th year for that class next spring.
And what all does that entail?
The course is a 3-day-a-week course. It's only worth 1 credit hour, so you work pretty hard for that credit. But we run on Tuesday, Thursday mornings, and then we get together on the weekend to do what has become the mandatory long run if you're really wanting to do a full marathon event.
Sure. Do you have to run a marathon in order to pass the class if you took that in marathon training?
According to the syllabus, no. Officially, you don't have to. We track attendance, and we have the students fill out a logbook, and so officially their grades based on the degree to which they do the work necessary to prepare to run a marathon. They don't actually have to enter a marathon. The history of the class shows that probably 70 to 80% of the students do choose to enter an event at the end of the semester. One of the interesting trends in recent years is that more students are electing to do a half marathon kind of as their final event as opposed to do the full distance. And that's consistent with the larger running world too. The half marathons become the more popular event, I guess.
Yes. So what is your favorite part of instructing and overseeing the marathon training course?
Obviously, it's fun to see people be successful. I like to think about the marathon class really as essentially as kind of a metaphor for developing life skills. And so the idea is that you can set a goal and come up with a plan, follow it through, and then at the end be able to say that they did it. And when I ask for feedback from the students at the end of the semester, many people talk about that part of it. So they leave the class thinking, well, gee, if I can run a marathon, I can do pretty much anything.
Yes.
And that's exciting to hear.
Yes. So when students come in on those Tuesday, Thursdays, do you just cut straight to the workout, or is there kind of almost an academic piece that goes along with that?
Yeah, I try to provide a little bit. There's actually quite a bit of scientific research that supports marathon running. And so one of the things I tell the students is basically I've done all the background work. They just have to show up. But I do try to provide them with kind of a knowledge base and some techniques and tools and information that will help them be successful, help them understand kind of the logic of the training. We talk about nutrition, recovery, those kinds of things also. Yeah. Okay,
so what do the Saturdays look like then?
Saturdays we pretty much just show up and run.
Okay.
The general format for the class over the years, I've kind of tweaked the schedule, but how it will work in the spring, we try to do about a 60-minute combination of walking and running the very first Saturday. About 12 or 13 weeks later, students will be up to where they can do about a 4-hour or 20-mile run, and that's the longest one that we do in preparation for the hope if they're doing a full marathon about 3 weeks after that. So we progress pretty quickly on the weekend and do runs of 9, 12, 15, 18 miles on the way up to the 20-miler.
That's awesome. If you're just now joining us, this is the Associate Professor of Psychology, David Provorse. What kinds of things have you seen as far as growth patterns with the marathon training course over the years that you've instructed it?
It's kind of fun to look back. I think the first time I offered the class in the spring of 1997, I think I had 8 people enrolled. And on a couple of the long runs that spring, there was just me and 2 other students who showed up. About 6 or 8 years ago, we saw a pretty dramatic increase. And for the last 5, 6, 8 years, the class really has filled, which is about 40 students. One of the things that helps there is that students can take the class a second time for credit. And so the last few years, I'll have 25 to 30 students taking the class for the first time, but I usually have 8 or 10 students who return and come back to do the class again. So it makes for a nice mix of veteran as well as new runners.
Sure. Do you happen to run yourself?
Yeah, I've been at it for a while. I did my first half marathon, I think, in '91. I did my first full marathon in '93.
Okay.
I don't like to brag and have the focus on me, but I've done over 30 full 26-mile marathons.
That's wonderful.
Since 1993.
What's been your favorite?
There's been a lot. I did the Lincoln Marathon, up in Lincoln, Nebraska, which is my home state, and lived there for 10 years. I actually did that one 14 times, so I can run the course in my mind at any minute. I can just cue it up, and so that obviously is a favorite. Since then, I've been trying to travel around and run marathons in a variety of states, and so Nashville, Las Vegas, Cincinnati, several have been kind of exciting, fun events.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again for joining us. For KSU News, this is Carly Willis. We'll be back after this.